For decades, millions of Nigerians, and even many Igbos themselves, have repeated one statement as though it were an unquestionable fact. Igboland is the Southeast. It appears in newspapers, it appears in television discussions, it appears in school conversations. Even government officials casually use the two terms interchangeably. But is that statement historically accurate? Or is it one of the greatest geographical misunderstandings in modern Nigeria? Because if you travel beyond the borders of Southeast, something remarkable begins to unfold. You discover ancient Igbo kingdoms, historic Igbo-speaking communities, traditional rulers who trace their ancestry back centuries, festivals, dialect, customs, and cultural practices unmistakably Igbo, yet located outside the Southeast. The truth is simple. The Southeast is the geopolitical zone. Igboland is an ancient civilization, and those two are not exactly the same. Today, we journey across history, colonial maps, oral tradition, archaeology, linguistics, and modern Nigeria to answer one question: is the Southeast really Igboland? Long before Nigeria became a country in 1914, long before states were created, long before colonial officers drew borders with pencil across maps, the Igbo people already occupied vast territories east of the lower Niger. Early European explorers, missionaries, and colonial administrators consistently described the Igbo as one of the largest ethnic groups in West Africa. Their homeland stretched across numerous autonomous communities linked by language, trade, religion, and ancestry rather than by centralized political authority. Unlike kingdoms such as the Kingdom of Benin or the Oyo Empire, the Igbo organized themselves through hundreds of self-governing communities. Although politically independent, these communities shared deep cultural connections. That was Igboland, not a state, not a geopolitical zone, but a civilization. Many people assume the Southeast had always existed. It has not. Nigeria originally consisted of regions. Later came states. Finally, in 1996, the country was grouped into 6 geopolitical zones. The Southeast became one of those 6 zones, consisting of Abia State, Anambra State, Ebonyi State, Enugu State, and Imo State. These are administrative divisions designed for governance and political representation, not ethnic boundaries. Ethnic identities long predate these political creations. Therefore, saying Igboland equals the Southeast ignores centuries of history. Perhaps nowhere challenges the misconception more than the west bank of the River Niger. Many assume crossing the Niger River means leaving Igboland. History says otherwise. Across today's Delta State lie numerous Igbo-speaking communities, collectively known as the Anioma people. Communities such as Asaba, Ibuza, Ogwashuku, Iseloku, and Obuloku. These communities speak Igbo dialect, celebrate Igbo festivals, and maintain Igbo traditions while also developing distinctive local identities. The River Niger has never been an ethnic war. It has always been a highway of commerce and migration. Beyond Delta, Igbo-speaking population extend into parts of River States, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River States. Communities including the Ikwere, Ndoni, Ekpeye, and others have long been subject of historical and scholarly discussions regarding language, ancestry, and identity. While many individuals and scholars identify these groups as culturally related to the broader Igbo world, Others emphasize distinct ethnic identities. This diversity of perspectives is important to acknowledge. Likewise, communities such as Ndoni have long-standing historical ties with neighboring Igbo settlements. The story of Igboland is therefore not of rigid lines, but of overlapping histories and centuries of interaction. Many Nigerians are surprised to discover historic Igbo communities beyond the southeast in parts of Benue State and Kogi State. Border communities have maintained linguistics and cultural ties with neighboring Igbo population for generations. Migration, trade, intermarriage, and shifting political boundaries all contribute to these connections. Ethnic geography is often far more complex than state boundaries suggest. One of the strongest pieces of evidence comes from language. Linguists classify Igbo as a major language with numerous dialects spread across southeastern Nigeria and adjoining areas. Researchers have documented Igbo dialects spoken not only in the 5 southeast states, but also in communities west of the Niger and in neighboring regions. Although accents differ, shared vocabulary, grammar, and cultural expression reveal deep historical relationships. Language preserves history where political maps cannot. British colonial administrators carefully documented ethnic territories. Historical maps produced during the colonial era often extended Igbo-speaking areas beyond today's southeast. Missionary records, ethnographic surveys, population studies, and linguistic atlases all demonstrate that Igbo-speaking communities existed outside the modern-day geopolitical zone. This document reminds us that administrative borders rarely align perfectly with cultural landscapes. If Igboland is broader, why do so many people think it is only in the southeast? The answer lies in politics and administration. When states were created, the majority of Igbo-speaking population fell within 5 states. Government institutions, schools, media, and public discourse gradually began using Southeast and Igboland almost interchangeably. Over time, administrative language replaced historical understanding. The simplification was convenient but incomplete. Recognizing a broader Igboland does not erase local identities. Anioma people remain proudly Anioma. Many communities in rivers maintain their own distinct ethnic identities while sharing historical and linguistic ties to the wider Igbo cultural sphere. Communities across border regions have unique histories shaped by centuries of interaction. Igboland has never been culturally uniform. Its strength lies in its diversity. Scholars such as Elizabeth Isichie, Adiele Afiigbo, and A.E. Afiigbo have documented the historical development of Igbo society, migration, and settlement patterns. Research by linguistics such as K. Williamson and others have also explored the distribution of Igbo and related languages. Their work suggests that Igbo history cannot be understood solely through the lens of modern political boundaries. Instead, it must be viewed through archaeology, linguistics, oral tradition, and historical documentation together. So is the Southeast Igboland? Yes. But is Igboland only the Southeast? History suggests the answer is no. The Southeast is the political heartland where the overwhelming majority of Igbo people live today. Yet, the broader historical and cultural landscape of Igboland extend beyond those 5 states into neighboring regions through communities with long-standing Igbo linguistics, cultural, and historical ties. Understanding this distinction does not diminish anyone's identity. Rather, it enriches our understanding of Nigeria's remarkable ethnic history. Perhaps the greatest lesson is this: maps created by government may define political jurisdiction, but civilization are shaped by people, language, culture, memory, and history, and those stories often extend far beyond the lines drawn on modern maps. As we have seen throughout this documentary, the story of Igboland is far richer and more complex than the borders of any modern geopolitical zone. The Southeast remains the political and cultural heartland of the Igbo people, but history, language, migration, and centuries of shared traditions reveal that Igbo communities and identities extend beyond those 5 states into part of today's South-South and North-Central regions. Understanding this distinction is not about redrawing maps or diminishing anyone's identity. It is about appreciating the depth of history and recognizing that cultures are shaped over centuries, not by administrative boundaries created in recent decades. History challenges assumptions. It invites us to ask better questions, examine credible evidence, and appreciate the remarkable diversity that makes Nigeria unique. The more we explore our past, the better we understand our present, and the better prepared we are to build a future founded on knowledge rather than misconception. The story of Igboland is still being studied by historians, archaeologists, linguists, and the communities themselves. As new research emerges and more historical records are examined, our understanding continues to grow. That is the beauty of history. It is a journey of discovery. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary informative and thought-provoking, please support the channel by giving this video a thumbs up, sharing it with friends and families, and subscribing for well more research documentaries on the history, culture, economy, and future of Eastern Nigeria and beyond. We would also love to hear from you on your perspective. Do you think the term Igboland is often misunderstood? Are they historical facts, family traditions, or local histories from your community that add to this conversation? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Your contribution could help others learn something new. Don't forget to turn on notification so you never miss the next documentary. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, history is best understood when we follow the evidence, not just boundaries on the maps.
The call for the creation of an Anioma state has gained fresh momentum as the Igbanke Strategic Group holds a World Press Conference demanding the inclusion of Igbanke communities in a proposed state. Well, the group says the move would restore justice, promote development, and preserve their cultural identity. Correspondent Jemima Poloko has more.
The Igbanke Strategic Group is calling for the inclusion of Igbanke communities in the proposed Anioma state as debates on state creation continue at the National Assembly. At a World Press Conference in Igbanke, Orionwo local government area of Edo State, traditional rulers, elders, and stakeholders gathered to sensitize the indigenes on the historic opportunity to reunite with their Ika-speaking kinsmen in Delta State. The group describes Igbanke as a culturally distinct Ika-speaking enclave of 6 autonomous communities currently administered under Oriawa local government area of Edo State.
Cross another local government to access our local government headquarters. If you go to the left, before Igbanke will access Abudu, which is the headquarters of our local government, we need to access Delta State, precisely Ika South in Delta State before we can access it. So nature has actually made Igbanke not to be part of Benin.
They say Igbanke maintains strong linguistic and cultural ties with the Anyoma people and laments decades of political marginalization, underdevelopment, and denial of recognition of its traditional rulers.
When Anyoma states have come to reality, then our community Igbanke will be included. Once Igbanke community is included, I think it will be a relief to Igbanke community worldwide.
Leaders argue that joining Anyoma State will restore cultural dignity, guarantee fair political representation, improve infrastructure, and foster economic development.
Was built in the 60s by our late brother Igbo. Since then, there have not been government presence in Igbanke, whether local or state.
A lot of persons have been deceived for so long about this Anyoma state creation. But today we've come to correct some of their disbelief, some of their fears, okay? That is what we have come here to do today.
They reaffirm their commitment to peace, unity, and national development, urging lawmakers to correct what they describe as a historic injustice. Jemima Boloko, Arise News, Igbanke.